Have you ever noticed that Demeo Dungeons & Dragons Battlemarked hides much more than it seems? There are mechanics, shortcuts, and details that the game simply doesn't tell you. And these little secrets are what make all the difference when you enter a dungeon. Today, I'm going to reveal 10 secrets the game keeps from you, and after this, you'll never play the same way again. I'm Matthew, and the video is about to start. The delay turn tip in Demeo Dungeons & Dragons Battlemarked is one of those mechanics that seem minor at first, but when you understand its impact, it completely changes the way you play. Many people fall into the rhythm of acting fast, spending actions as early as possible, and trying to clear the board right away. But this game rewards those who think like a true strategist. Delaying your turn might seem like a waste of time, but it's the kind of move that separates a good run from a legendary run. The most interesting thing is how this mechanic transforms each round into a small, tactical puzzle. By performing a delay turn and letting your allies go first, you create space for chain reactions. And this is incredible when you have teams with well-defined roles. It's the kind of decision that reinforces the importance of group synergy. You start paying attention to who will act next, to areas of effect, and even to the order of buffs. Every second of waiting can mean double the damage in the round. In the example of Tibby with Lyria, things become even clearer. Tibby casts his elemental spell, and then Lyria copies the magic with the power to duplicate the effect. That combination alone destroys any unprepared boss. And the best part? It feels organic, as if the characters were truly cooperating with intelligence and perfect timing. This sense of impeccable coordination makes every combat more engaging, more alive, as if the entire group functioned as a single unit. Another detail is that the delay turn allows for improvisation. If you notice that an enemy has moved or an ally is in trouble, there is still time to adjust the plans. This breaks that fixed pattern of rigid strategies, allowing the game to flow with impressive naturalness. You can even risk heroic moves, like letting an ally finish a summon before you deliver the final blow, things that define memorable moments in cooperative matches. The delay turn is more than a simple turn function. It is an invitation to play with tactical vision, patience, and a sense of opportunity. Using it correctly is feeling that every round is a chance to create an epic scene on the board. It's the kind of resource that shows how much Demeo Battlemarked understands the essence of a good tactical RPG. It's not just about acting, but about acting at the right moment. Elemental combos on the board in Demeo Battlemarked are the kind of thing that, when you start using them on purpose, the game simply gains another layer. It's not just casting a fire spell or hitting an arrow. It's setting the scene, almost like setting up a giant domino rally and then knocking everything down with a single action. When you spread oil or position barrels in the right place and are already thinking about which firebolt or fire arrow will ignite everything, you start to feel that every turn is a trap you've set for the game to fall into. The most satisfying thing is seeing the area explosion hit several enemies at once, especially when they think they are safe behind a corner or clustered near a choke point. You look at the board, see that whole floor slick with oil, and you know, the next click will turn into a bonfire worthy of a boss fight. That's the moment when the damage is not just numbers going up, it's visual feedback. It's clearing the field. It's the feeling of, I planned this 2 turns ago. And then comes the more mad scientist part. Understanding how water, poison, fire, and lightning interact with each other. Using water to put out fire or clear poison is great when the group is cornered, but it brings that delicious risk when you remember that lightning loves wet surfaces. Suddenly, an innocent puddle of water turns into an electric damage amplifier that can either fuel your combo or wipe out your team if someone misses the target. It's the kind of detail that makes you respect every element before clicking. Freezing enemies with ice is almost like stealing a turn brazenly, and that's what makes the mechanic so addictive. It's not just controlling the board, it's controlling time. When you freeze a group, you feel like you paused that part of the fight to deal with something else first. You can reposition, heal, prepare more barrels, spread more oil, all while the enemies stand there, waiting for their sentence. Playing with elemental combos in Demeo Battlemarked is about stopping thinking only about direct damage and starting to see the board as a sandbox of magical physics. You are not just defeating monsters, you are choreographing disasters. Fire spreading in oil, water turning into a shock conductor, ice that steals actions. When these things come together in the same turn, it feels less like combat and more like an RPG scene that you directed yourself. The movement plus attack for 1 AP tip in Demeo Battlemarked is simply sensational and changes the pace of the game in a way I love. In many turn-based games, moving and attacking are separate actions that cost action points, but here you can do both in the same round, passing over the enemy with a melee attack, spending only 1 AP. This is perfect for those who like to play aggressively and with high mobility, because you don't waste time and you still maintain pressure. This mechanic shines brightly with characters like Ashe, who has stealth to approach silently and guarantee that lethal backstab. Imagine the satisfaction of appearing out of nowhere, attacking an enemy from behind, and immediately repositioning for the next target or escaping danger, all in a single movement. This fluidity gives a sense of control and style that makes the gameplay more dynamic and strategic than a simple walk and attack. Furthermore, the combination of quick step with a bow gives a special touch to those who prefer ranged attacks. You can advance across the field, position yourself better for an accurate shot, and still be closer to the action in the next turn. It's a clever move that allows you not only to deal damage, but also to get out of complicated situations without spending 2 actions. The feeling of being an agile archer who dominates the field is very cool. Finally, this tactic of moving and attacking at the same time encourages you to think of the board as a space of quick opportunities. It's almost like fighting games, where positioning and timing are everything. Knowing exactly when to move past an enemy to attack and get ahead can decide the outcome of the battle, because you maximize your damage while being less exposed. Overall, this efficient use of action points transforms each turn into a strategic dance, where time and positioning are the sharpest weapons. In Demeo Battlemarked, it's not just about attacking, but how to attack and move with precision, making the game more fluid, exciting, and tactically rich. This tip really made me look at each turn with more creativity and a desire to explore unexpected combinations. The tip about 0 AP cards at the end of the turn in Demeo Battlemarked is one of those tricks that go unnoticed but are fundamental for sustaining the party during long combats. Using healing potions, buffs, or auras like Bolthrax's Aura of Vitality, without spending any action, allows for a perfect balance between offense and defense, keeping the group alive and in the rhythm of the battle. It's as if you carry a trump card that doesn't weigh down your turn, but can turn the game around at any moment. The cool thing is that this changes your mindset when playing. You stop worrying only about spending your action points quickly and start thinking about how to maximize each movement, always leaving room to reinforce the team at the end of the round. It's strategic and also creates a sense of security for longer challenges, where natural attrition starts to take its toll. Another thing I liked a lot is how this strengthens the cooperative aspect of the game. In multiplayer matches, having someone who always saves 0 AP cards for the end of the turn can be a tactic that saves the entire group, because you keep everyone in the game longer without sacrificing your offensive potential. The feeling of always supporting the team at no extra cost is great. This 0 AP card tip at the end of the turn shows how Demeo Battlemarked is a game that rewards planning and patience. You feel like you always have a plan B or C up your sleeve, ready to use at the right time. It is this depth that makes the game so addictive, maintaining control of the situation without haste, but with maximum effectiveness. Controlling the map with traps and summons in Demeo Battlemarked is one of those tricks that puts you in the position of a true maestro of the battlefield. Placing barrels and flasks at choke points creates zones where enemies simply do not want to step, forcing them to move along the paths you have chosen. It's almost like drawing invisible but explosive traps that give you a huge strategic advantage even before the fight actually begins. The use of Ashe's gas bombs and Jessica's summons, such as wolves and rats, elevates this strategy to another level. These creatures function as baits that distract bosses, diverting attention and giving the team time to position themselves better or prepare area attacks. It's an ingenious way to channel the flow of enemies to where you want, transforming the map into a living trap that you control. This approach makes you think of the board not just as a place where combat happens, but as a scenario that can be manipulated in your favor. Using the environment to deny space to enemies and control their movement is crucial for the most difficult battles, especially against bosses who have devastating attacks. Thinking about choke points and traps is almost a tactical dance that defines your party's success. Another thing I like is how this strengthens cooperation between players. Each person can take on a role, someone preparing traps, another using summons to distract, while the rest plan the most powerful attacks. The feeling of teamwork grows greatly when you realize that this is the only way to dominate challenges with maximum efficiency. Hiring hirelings immediately in multiplayer is one of those decisions that changes everything right at the beginning of the session, especially when you have only 4 players or fewer. In the party lineup, just press the plus on the wrist menu to add these NPCs right away without having to wait for the second encounter as many people mistakenly do. This fills the team with 4 controllable characters from the very first combat, giving a brutal advantage in terms of coverage, damage, and survival that makes the adventure much more fluid and epic. I love how this transforms multiplayer into something that feels like a real D&D table, with everyone having something to do without boring downtime. Instead of unbalanced fights where 2 or 3 players carry everything, hirelings become extensions of the group. You control them as if they were your own, positioning them for tanks, heals, or distractions. It's perfect for smaller groups where every action counts and avoids that missing people feeling that disrupts the rhythm. The best part is the practicality. No need to grind or unlock anything, just click and that's it, the team is complete. This is ideal for casual sessions with friends, where no one wants extra complication. You feel the immediate impact in the first combats, with more tactical options and less individual pressure, making the runs more fun and less punitive. Furthermore, it adds an extra strategic layer because you can choose hirelings that complement the main heroes of the group. Want more ranged damage, extra tank, backup healer? All this from scratch without waiting for progression. This flexibility makes multiplayer shine, especially in long campaigns where maintaining momentum is key to not losing the hype. Ultimately, hiring hirelings on the wrist menu right at the start is the secret to optimized multiplayer in Demeo Battlemarked. It transforms an incomplete party into a cohesive dungeon crawling machine. It's simple, effective, and shows how the game rewards those who explore the options right away, making every session feel like a collective victory from the first step. The tip about training heroes daily with specific bonuses in Demeo Battlemarked is one of the most intelligent progression mechanics in the game, and many people don't realize how much it speeds up character growth. Doing daily training focused on each hero's main stats, like critical damage for Blade for example, maximizes development exponentially. It's the type of simple routine that, when maintained, transforms average heroes into absolutely devastating combat machines in a matter of weeks. The cool thing is that this approach makes it clear that the game rewards consistency and planning. There's no point in training random stats just because they're available. You need to understand what each hero does best and focus on that religiously. If Blade is about explosive critical damage, investing in that every day ensures that every hit is more lethal. This creates a progression that you feel personally, where every training session has a direct impact on the battlefield. Furthermore, the daily training system works as a perfect incentive to return to the game every day, even when you don't have time for a full run. It's quick, objective, and gives you that feeling of constant evolution that keeps engagement high. You open the game, train your heroes, and you already feel like you've advanced, even without playing an entire campaign. This structure is addictive and respects the player's time. Another important point is that it adds a long-term strategic layer. You start thinking about which hero you will need most in the next adventures and adjust the training to prepare the ideal team. Want to face a heavy boss? Train the tank. Need more burst damage? Focus on the DPS. This flexibility transforms daily training into an essential part of the overall strategy, not just a system of numbers going up. Training heroes daily with specific bonuses in Demeo Battlemarked is the difference between a functional team and an unstoppable team. It is a mechanic that rewards dedication, planning, and deep knowledge of each character, making you feel like you are shaping unique warriors over time. When you see the impact of these trained stats in combat, it is clear. This routine is worth every second invested. Increasing friendship in the hangout is one of those mechanics that I find brilliant, because it connects the social part of the game with the hero's power progression in a very natural way. The idea of spending time with characters in the hangout to strengthen their bonuses is fantastic. The higher the friendship, the stronger they become, and ignoring this is literally leaving power on the table, limiting your maximum potential in campaigns. What I like most about this is how it transforms the hangout from a simple lobby into a space that has a real purpose within the game. It's not just a place to wait for friends to join, it's part of the strategy. You start thinking about which hero needs more attention, with whom you want to create a stronger bond to unlock bonuses that match your playstyle. This adds a layer of role-playing that is very welcome in a D&D game. This mechanic also encourages exploring the more personal side of the heroes. By interacting with them, you are not just farming stats, you are getting to know their personalities, their stories. The game rewards you for caring about the characters beyond the numbers, and this creates a much greater attachment. You feel like you are building a real party, with bonds that are directly reflected in combat synergy. Furthermore, it is an intelligent form of progression that does not depend only on combat or finding items. It's an investment of time that pays dividends in the long run. A player who dedicates time to the hangout will always have a subtle but significant advantage over those who simply skip this part. Friendship bonuses can be the difference between narrowly defeating a boss or being completely annihilated. The hangout friendship system is a perfect example of how Demeo Battlemarked understands the spirit of Dungeons & Dragons. It's not just about killing monsters and collecting treasures, but about creating a story with a group of adventurers. Strengthening your heroes through friendship is a mechanic that rewards engagement and makes every moment in the game, even off the board, valuable and meaningful. Balancing main and side missions is a tip that changed a lot for me in the way I approach the game. Right away, the temptation is to focus only on the main quests, but they scale quickly and can leave progress stuck or frustrating if you're not well prepared. Alternating with repeatables is the secret to farming resources, leveling up cards, and also collecting new items without getting stuck in progress, and this brings more fluidity and less anguish during the journey. What I like about this is that the game ends up gaining a more natural rhythm, almost like a real adventure where you don't rush straight through the story, but enjoy the journey. Doing these side missions allows you to explore the map more, test different card and hero combinations, and still walk away with a lot of extra resources. This creates a feeling of freedom, instead of being stuck in a race against the clock of the main quest. Furthermore, repeatable missions have their charm because they are an experimentation lab. It is where you can afford to make mistakes, learn the hero's mechanics, and develop that feeling that makes a difference in the most difficult battles. Leveling up cards here is not just gaining numbers, it is ensuring that key moves are sharp when the challenge really gets tough. Another cool point of this alternation is that you never run out of leveling up or gaining equipment while advancing in the story. This avoids that annoying moment where you feel like you've stalled and need to redo old parts of the game anyway. Maintaining the balance between main and secondary missions helps progress be constant and rewarding without sudden jumps in rhythm. This care with the mission balancing shows how Demeo Battlemarked respects the player's time and experience. It is possible to have fun and evolve at the same time, without haste or frustration, living a journey that mixes objective and exploration in the right measure. This tip is the kind of strategic detail that makes engagement rise, because it transforms every part of the game into an opportunity to grow and progress with pleasure. Taking leveled heroes to new campaigns is a mechanic that I simply love, because it creates this infinite progression that makes the game never lose its shine. Your leveled up characters carry the progress over to new runs, maintaining all the evolution you've achieved and adding a deep emotional connection with them. Focus on only 3 upgrade paths per hero, be it key stats or new abilities, to avoid getting lost and maximize the real impact on the battlefield. This carryover transforms each campaign into a natural continuation of your journey, instead of a frustrating reset. You feel like you are building a personal saga, where Blade with insane critical damage or a tank with epic defenses returns stronger, ready for greater challenges. It's addictive to see how these investments pay dividends in subsequent runs, giving a sense of lasting achievement that few games achieve. The secret is in this discipline of focusing on only 3 paths. For a DPS like Blade, prioritize critical damage, attack speed, and a burst ability. For a support, heals, auras, and mobility. This avoids diluting resources and creates specialized heroes that shine in specific scenarios. I always plan this before a new campaign, and the result is a cohesive team that dominates from the very first combat. Furthermore, this infinite progression fosters emotional attachment. You start rooting for your heroes as if they were old D&D tabletop friends. Seeing them evolve over multiple runs creates organic narratives, where an upgraded ability saves the day in an unexpected boss fight. Ignoring this is wasting the game's deep roguelike potential, which rewards patience and long-term vision. In the end, taking leveled heroes with focused paths is what makes Demeo Battlemarked stand out as a tactical RPG with soul. It creates a progression loop that mixes strategy, emotion, and infinite replayability, transforming each new campaign into an exciting evolution of your favorite group. It is this layer that makes me always return, feeling that the adventure never truly ends.